Welcome back to Weekly Reflections with Salt and Mugs.
Good morning, good morning, good
Good
morning.
morning. It is Christmas season upon almost. I don't know if it's considered Christmas.
Well,
What do you think?
Christmas season doesn't really start till after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Oh yeah, my bad. It's
This-
Thanksgiving season. I'm
starting to no, but everybody starts too early, But hey,
Yeah.
you love this time of year no matter what.
Absolutely.
First snow this week. First snow.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. With Thanksgiving coming up, I felt like a good theme would be thankfulness and gratitude.
Yeah.
How important do you think those two areas are in our life, and how can we really start to like embody that in our everyday life?
Well, we were talking last week about meeting the challenge, and it's a challenge to practice gratitude.
Mm.
Bill Byron, a great Jesuit who ran the University of Scranton and Catholic University, he once said, "You cannot be really grateful and unhappy at the same time."
Mm.
It's very interesting. I mean, to practice gratitude will literally keep us from being unhappy.
Wow.
I mean, meeting the challenge, there's difficulties in life, there's final exams coming up.
Yes.
But can you be grateful for the final exam rather than see it as a horrible imposition and a terrible ordeal?
Mm.
Can you say, I've had this whole semester to study and learn, and now I get to show what I've learned? See it that way and be grateful for it rather than looking at it another way. And, how we orient ourselves, how we use our internal imagination, thoughts, desires can really change the way we feel, the way
So
we
true.
are experiencing the world. Even when it's a challenge, you can let the challenge just make you feel miserable, or you can see it as a way to grow, as a way to be grateful for just being alive and being able to have the challenge.
Yes. Yeah. I've learned that like gratitude isn't something you just leave for chance. Like
Yeah.
you said, you have to really practice gratitude.
And it's the same way with happiness. You have to kind of practice what will make you really happy. What will make you really content? What will make us really alive and like just, man, it's great to be here. I'm really experiencing life as a great adventure rather than I'm all depressed, everything sucks, life is terrible. We have to work psychically, mentally, and I would suggest religiously to respond to life in a way that really helps us and helps other people. Because, when I'm miserable, people around me are going to be miserable. If I'm on the phone all the time, everybody around me is going to be just shut out. We have to practice things that really bring us together and give us joy and give us peace. And that, like you say, often begins with just really practicing gratitude.
Wow.
Really sitting down at the end of the day and naming 5 things for which you were grateful. I think Oprah did that a few years ago. And it was revolutionary,
Yeah.
just sit down and people really, there was a kid here in...
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan was in a class where the professor made them do that. And he said it was eye-opening to him to realize, to pay attention. I mean, he knew that he, was a runner on the track team, that he was a smart guy, that he had friends. But when you really begin to tell yourself, hey, wait a second, I'm a smart guy. I run on the track team. I have friends. It changes things for you. It makes you happy.
Yes.
It makes you just ready to go out and grab life and have a good time.
Absolutely. They say whatever you focus on in your life will amplify.
Exactly.
So with gratitude, you have to be very intentional with your focus, like you said.
And that's where, you don't ignore problems,
Right.
but you keep them in perspective. Somebody said sometimes like life is like a painting. And if you concentrate on this little part of the painting and ignore all the rest, if this little part is like the problem in your life, you're ignoring all the good stuff.
Wow.
Now, if all you're paying attention to is all the good stuff and ignoring the problem, you're not going to get anywhere either.
Yeah, right.
Problems got to be solved. Problems got to be handled. But some of the things that really distress us aren't all that distressing. I can't believe how ticked off I can get when computers don't work for me. And then I just have to step back and say, this is such a first world problem. I had to get the driver's record from the state of Pennsylvania, because my license is still in Pennsylvania, and so I could drive the vans here. Well, we tried it 4 times and it didn't work. 4th time it worked. Well, then we got charged at the office 4 times on the credit card. Now Kia has to take this form. We have to submit this form so we can get only charged once instead of 4 times. And, I'm like, what the? I'm like, such a first world problem. Such a first world problem. This is going to take like 10 minutes to fix,
Right.
And if it doesn't get fixed, it's only like $40 or something.
Yes. And I think that's where those practices, like the examine practice you talk about, I think that's really where it's applicable in real life, like in a real day-to-day situation.
Well, what I was thinking about too was we talked about the examine and the 5 steps of the examine, stopping, pausing, realizing God exists, giving thanks, examining, thinking about what's going on in my head for the last 12, 24 hours. What am I focusing on? What am I thinking about? What am I desiring? What am I wanting? And then making some practical applications. Okay, in the next 12 hours, I'm going to do this. And then saying, okay, God exists. I believe God's promises. I believe doing this, living this way will help me. The exam is a great little prayer exercise. But even more, I was thinking this morning coming over here, what will really make us happy? And I would suggest some sort of religious response to life. I think when you're at Moyne, I think when you're in college, you should really explore religion and spirituality. Some people say I'm spiritual but not religious. Sometimes I think that means you're really neither. And spirituality can be a lake 1,000,000 miles wide and 1 inch deep. Religion takes spirituality and practices it. And it's like going to the gym, If you only go to the gym once a year, if you only go to church once a year, but if you begin to practice spirituality, if you begin to practice religion, if you begin to meditate and make the examine, you'll see your life getting in order in a way that it's not if you just ignore all that stuff. A couple kids this week, one kid came at the football night, the free root beer floats.
The Eagles.
The Eagles game. The kid got talking, just asking me about Jesus. And so many young people have such little awareness of the basics of religion. It's not that they're for or against it. They really don't know anything about it.
Right.
They don't know, they've never read the Gospel of Mark, which is only 16 chapters, and it'll take you 40 minutes to read. The basics of religion in general. What is Christianity? What is Judaism? What is Buddhism? What is Hinduism? What is Islam? As an educated person, you should have at least an elevator speech answer for those questions. That to just have no conception that some people find great comfort, great strength, great consolation in really practicing a religion, in really finding a way to serve the mystery of God and to live in humility with the idea that, I don't know everything about God. I don't know exactly how everybody's supposed to practice a religion. But I do know that for me, Catholicism has made my life infinitely better than the insanity I was involved in when I was at Lafayette College, which seemed fun at the time, but really isn't. And the practice of religion, especially as a family, young people find that, when you get kids, what are you going to tell kids? How are you going to guide kids to find a good life? And religion can often be a great source of power and strength to do that, because life is hard. And if you don't have a religion and life goes bad, what do you do? What do you lean on?
It feels really heavy.
Yeah, people go to work for 50 years and all of a sudden the company just says, get out of here, we're hiring somebody younger than you. And they've been giving their whole life to their job. Well, you can't give your whole life to your job. You should give your whole life to ultimate purpose in life. You should give your life to something that transcends this life, that goes beyond this life. You should give yourself to your marriage, not because you get something out of it, but because you give something to it and you create a marriage, you create a family. It's an incredible achievement.
Wow.
But everybody will tell you it's a challenge. And how do you meet that challenge? How do you find the way to sustain a relationship and be faithful to that relationship and wait until the fruits of that fidelity emerge? That's why I worry sometimes about the script young people are given. Go around, boink everybody you can. Yeah. All right, well, you're going to get married at 26 and you're just going to stop that? Or have you practiced the fidelity that is necessary to really make your life meaningful, really make your life full of joy?
I like that framework about how how, that's kind of how I've seen it. Like spirituality is kind of like the macrocosm, and then religion helps you to create a framework to practice it.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of young people, like you said, it's just lack of awareness, but also just very, bad experiences with certain people who have put certain, faiths or religions on them that they were like, I don't ever want to experience that again. So I think it's a balance.
And it's like anything else. The antidote for bad religion is good religion.
That's good.
The antidote for bad policing or bad medicine or bad anything is good policing, good medicine, good anything. And there's a lot of, I don't want to point fingers at there's a lot of preaching out there that is more for the preacher than for the person preached to or preached for.
Very true.
A religion that serves, I think, proves itself more helpful in life than a religion that oppresses or forces people to do things they don't want to do or doesn't leave for freedom. Paul in Galatians 5:1 says, "For freedom Christ has set us free." And as soon as somebody says, Jesus wants you to do this, and if you don't do it, you're going to hell. Well, who died and left that person boss? Right. How does he know that?
Right.
Really, Jesus is about helping us find our deepest, truest selves in the reality of the Christ.
Yeah.
In the Christ that we form in community. And
I've never heard it like that.
Yeah,
in the
basically,
Christ that we form in community.
Yeah, baptism initiates you into a community. And the community is what we need. And right now, there's so many people in America who are so lonely, especially men. So many men who say they have no friends. Thursday night, we get together with that group in the campus ministry, and those guys, they just are friends for one another. They listen to one another. Church should be community. And that's another thing. People go to church and they feel like they get the cold shoulder, or they feel like no one's talking to them. Well, did you talk to anybody? But still, churches should really be places that welcome people and encourage people. I was a young Jesuit, and a priest said, we were in North Philly, where I went to high school, and it was a very distressed neighborhood. And the parish had very poor people. And he said, people come here every Sunday to get what they need to get through the week. And that's what community will do for you. Place I go in the summer in Wyoming, somebody dies, everybody shows up. In Scranton, I was from India, everybody goes to funerals. I haven't been around Moyne that long, but there's something about forming community and carrying one another. Nobody makes it through this world alone. You ever see the movie, I always talking about movies,
Always.
Godfather 2?
No, I got to watch that.
Michael Corleone, it's Godfather 1, Michael Corleone becomes the Godfather. Godfather 2, Michael Corleone eventually vanquishes all his opponents. All his opponents are shot. It's a wild sequence in the movie where...
In Godfather 2 or 1?
Well, Godfather 1, he gets them all. But at the end, in the second one, he's wiped everybody out. The first one, of course, where they get the 5 in a row. But by the end of the second movie, Fredo goes out praying the Hail Mary. He gets shot. And at the end of the movie, Michael is just sitting there all by himself.
Wow.
And he thinks back to December 8th after the attack on Pearl Harbor. And he signs up to become a Marine. His brother Sonny is telling him he's an idiot. And you realize that Michael Corleone never wanted to be the Godfather. He never wanted to become what he became. And he sits there all alone. He has everything and he has nothing. And that's what community will do for you. It will help you choose in ways that, make you free and don't enslave you. Michael Corleone got enslaved into that way of life, and he didn't really want it. If your family wants you to do this, that, or that, you got to tell your family, this is what God is calling me to do. This is what I really deeply feel called to do. And community will support that.
Wow.
Good religion will support that. Bad religion, maybe not the perfect family. What family isn't dysfunctional? May not support you the way you need to, but eventually they'll come around. What is it? The great magic is grandchildren. Because if your mother doesn't like your spouse, as soon as you have a grandchild, okay, you're good.
All right. Well, definitely, with it being, Thanksgiving coming up, leave the viewers with some encouragement, some gratitude, some thankfulness, whatever you feel coming up with this season.
One, if you have somewhere to go on Thanksgiving where they are going to welcome you and share food with you, be grateful.
Sir.
Because a lot of people don't have that. And if you don't have that, find some way to have that. Invite yourself. If a kid is here and they got nowhere to go, come and talk to me. We'll get you someplace to go on Thanksgiving. And even the Thanksgiving, Christmas season, to really enter into sort of a religious response to life. Ask yourself what really matters, what orients you and orders your life so that you can get to where you want to go. Wow. This season is a time when, you got to spend a little more time indoors. It gets a little colder, a little darker, but it's beautiful. The Advent season in the Catholic Church, I just love it. It's a time of really just stopping at the end of the year and saying, what is life all about? Why am I here? What do I really want? How am I going to get that? What can I give so that others can get that too? And what do we want? We want peace. We want family. We want hope. We want love. We want love. And like you said, love is a practice. Love doesn't just happen.
Yes, sir.
The rom-coms and the Hallmark movies are fun, but it ain't real.
So true.
But they do sort of show that that's what we really want.
Yeah.
And for young people to begin to prepare themselves to get married, to form families, to have children. So many people today aren't having children. And it's really distressing because that's the great joy of life. The older I get, I find the only thing people really care about are their children. And I don't know what happens if you're 60 years old and you don't have any kids. Now, I don't have kids, but I'm part of a community that cares about kids.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have your own kids, find ways to care for kids.
That's beautiful.
There's nothing more fun than, passing around a little baby or playing with little kids.
Yeah.
They are the future.
Yep. Feeding.
They got to push my wheelchair.
A society is only as strong as its children. That's what they say. That's good. Well, thanks for joining us this week on the Moyne Way podcast, weekly reflections with Salt and Mugs. That's going to do it for this week. I appreciate you guys. We will see you guys next week. Yeah, that's really
Put God first.
Put God first. Yes, let's do that. Okay, guys.